Blame is a killer. It's a killer of progress. It's a killer of growth. It's a killer of fruitfulness. In this two-part video series, we will explore what blame is, why I consider it to be a thorn, and how we can overcome the blame mindset. Let's first of all talk about by what I mean when I say that blame is a thorn. What do I mean by a thorn? If you recall from the Gospel of Mark, Jesus referred to the thorns as the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desires for other things. These are the things that choke the word and make it unfruitful. So I consider a thorn anything that causes us to be unfruitful or that hinders us from doing the will of God or fulfilling His purpose for our lives. Let's start out by defining what blame is. The Oxford English Dictionary defines blame as assigning responsibility for a fault or wrong. Another definition is to accuse of being at fault or to condemn or declare guilty. So, where did blame begin? We have to look no further than the first book of the Bible. In Genesis chapter 3, verses 11 through 13, it reads, "And he, God, said, Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? Then the man said, The woman that you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. And the Lord God said to the woman, What is that you have done? The woman said, The serpent deceived me, and I ate." The admission of sin here always starts with outside blame, with casting responsibility upon someone or something else. There's no sense that Adam or Eve took any responsibility for their own actions. Adam blamed Eve, and by extension, God, because God gave Eve to him because he said, "The woman you gave me." And Eve cast blame upon the serpent. What is a blame mindset? A blame mindset is one that constantly looks outward to find fault for bad situations, where looking at the external factors is the default mental setting. A person who has a blame mindset doesn't consider themselves as being at fault for any particular circumstance, or they will minimize the role that they may have played or contributed to the situation. For instance, if you lose your job, it could certainly be caused by external factors, such as unfair supervisors or managers, or perhaps changes in policy that violate your core beliefs. I'm not bitter. However, if you find that you keep losing jobs and you keep blaming external factors without considering that you're the common denominator, then you might have a blame mindset. Where do we see blame in our culture? Our culture has become blame-based, looking at outward things for all of the ills and problems of the world. You don't have to look on social media very long before somebody's posting something that's blaming all of the terrible things that are happening in the world on somebody or something. Let's say, for example, racism. Society in this country has taken on the notion that all the ills of the Black community is tied to racism in some sort, while giving little or no regard to internal factors that are more within the control of the Black community, such as fatherlessness in the home, or the destruction of the nuclear family, rejection of God and His Word, even from those who call themselves Christians. Studies have shown that these internal factors have a more direct impact on the economic and educational disparity, incarceration rates, and lack of advancement of our people. Yet, far too often, our default is to blame the white man. How is blame a thorn? Consider this. Our goal is to be good ground so that we may be fruitful. Fruitfulness requires growth, and growth is change in a positive direction. The first thing about blame is that blame removes any reason to change. Think about it. Blame is easy. It doesn't require you to change, and therefore is going to be a hindrance to growth. It's easier to blame than to get to the root of an issue, especially if we are at that root. If we only consider the external factors as the reason for our present situation, then what obligation is there for us to do anything to change? Secondly, not only does blame remove any reason for us to change, it actually takes away our ability to change. We've all heard the saying, with great power comes great responsibility. I heard Simon Sinek once say the converse of that, with great responsibility comes great power. Think about that for a minute. Power and control are tied to responsibility. And what is blame again? Blame is about assigning responsibility. We could say it's also about assigning power or control. Casting blame is resigning your power to the object of that blame. When you give that responsibility to someone or something else, you relinquish the capacity to change your circumstances. You relinquish that capacity to someone or something else. You attach the outcome of your life to the actions of other people. You change when they change, or if they change. Thirdly, blame does not glorify God. The Westminster Catechism states that the chief end of man is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Adam and Eve did not glorify God in their blame. The children of Israel, when they were in the wilderness, when they complained and blamed Moses and God for their occasional suffering, did not glorify God. In fact, it angered God. Do you believe that having a mindset of blame will somehow cause people to give glory and give praise to God? I don't think so. In the next video, we'll take a look at how to deal with blame and how to defeat the blame mindset. In the meantime, take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, are there things that you are blaming others for? Are there areas of your life in which there may be a blame mindset? Put those things down in the comments and let's have a discussion over it. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.